energy production in rural United States. H.R. 678 would streamline a duplicative regulatory process and reduce administrative costs for developing small canal and pipeline hydropower projects on existing man-made Bureau of Reclamation facilities. The small hydropower generating units covered by this bill are on previously developed ground. They have no environmental impact. The facilities on which they would be installed have already gone through extensive environmental review when they were constructed or when they were rehabilitated. This bill would help produce cheaper and cleaner electricity for families and small businesses and generate new federal revenues as well. A nearly identical bill passed the House last year with significant bipartisan support. Once again, I thank the members of the committee for your consideration and look forward to advancing this legislation so that we can put our people back to work developing clean and renewable energy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the feedback and the bringing the bill before the Rules Committee. The gentlewoman is now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Ranking Member Slaughter, members of the Rules Committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify regarding the consideration of the for consideration of H.R. 678, the Bureau of Reclamation Small Conduit Hydropower Development and Rural Jobs Act. This bill seeks to allow the generation, that is to increase hydropower production at existing facilities by developing conduit and in-canal hydropower. There's a feedback, guys. I don't know where that's coming from.
Maybe push it slightly towards me. Maybe, I'm sorry, the bass. That bass sound maybe.
Yeah. It was still doing it. Okay. Maybe that's a little better. It is. We are in support of the intent of the legislation, but we do not, I repeat, we do not support the bill as reported by our committee only because it includes the NEPA waiver in language on page 4, lines 14 to 18. Representative Tipton's bill has helped spur a much-needed discussion on small hydropower development. We agree with that. Since the bill's consideration, Reclamation has released a report on potential conduit hydropower project sites. Unfortunately, legislation we are considering today contains the exact same waiver of the NEPA Act of 69 that stopped. It was killed. The legislation was killed in the Senate and did not become law in the 112th Congress. The waiver of NEPA in this bill is really unnecessary since Reclamation has started. They already have begun implementing guidance for the categorical exclusion. Legislation seeks to involve NEPA problem that does not exist in that page 4, lines 14 to 18. The legislation without the NEPA waiver would have been a bill we would have supported as non-controversial last Congress and most likely would have already been enacted into law, thereby spurring the need for job development, increasing hydropower in many of those areas. We offered an amendment in committee to strike the unnecessary waiver and was not adopted. I have filed an amendment that would strike the NEPA waiver from the bill. As a compromise, we are amending to increase the megawatt limitation from 5 megawatts to 15 megawatts for small conduit hydro projects. This allows for more power to be created at those existing facilities. Without the NEPA waiver, the agency can utilize its own categorical exclusion, which has no megawatt limitation and therefore makes the cap on the legislation arbitrary. Waiving NEPA compliance appears to be a reflex on my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Here they are waiving the law despite the fact the agency has already used existing flexible authority to put in place a categorical exclusion from NEPA. They're insisting on a NEPA waiver despite the fact that the provision doomed the bill last Congress and despite the fact the inclusion of waiver requires them to insert an artificial cap on the size of the projects. My amendment would resolve this problem, and I ask that you make it in order. We would support the bill without the waiver and hope that we can reach a compromise before it reaches the floor. Now, the fact that we support Bureau's reclamation of categorical exclusion for conduits, they don't have a megawatt limitation, but they look at the total environmental impact. Then, of course, we can also point to the fact there are already 4 projects that have been already worked on. 3 of them are in the sponsor's home state of Colorado, in Carter Lake, Ridgeway Project, and the South Canal. and the fourth is in Jordanelle, Utah. And these have already been approved under the lease power agreements. So we just want a privilege. We want to be sure that we can work together on this. We want to approve this. This is a great bill, with the exception of that NEPA inclusion, the waiver of NEPA. And we think that it's time that we begin to not only put people back to work, but expand the capability for job development, for more power to be created, or for them to be able to realize that they have the potential, if they so choose or can, increase their capability to produce that power. And with that, I yield back.
Thank you very much, Mr. Napolitano. I appreciate being a part of this active discussion that we've got today. So, Mr. Chairman, we're after jobs, we're after more green energy, we're after cost-effective energy, and here before us today to pass a bill.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, the NEPA process is at the very center of this bill. The NEPA process has already been done on these existing pipelines and canals. All they're doing is lowering a small generator into that pipeline or canal to generate electricity. It is cost-effective until NEPA is then brought into the process. We received testimony that NEPA more than doubles the cost of these projects, and as a result, make them simply cost prohibitive. The fact is, actually, if you can turn your
push it towards. I think this way that may help. Thank you.
The agency's own categorical exclusion process has produced precisely 0 new hydropower plants as a result of that process. It has utterly failed. What my friend from California is proposing is to gut the very purpose of the bill.
Interesting. Mr. Bishop?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. McClintock, let me ask you a couple of questions that Ms. Napolitano raised that I think are interesting. First of all, the idea of the cap. Would you be opposed to eliminating all the caps as to the size of these projects?
Absolutely. I would support that, absolutely.
Okay. Second one deals with categorical exclusions, and I realized before. I came back to these hallowed halls. I had no idea what the hell a categorical exclusion was. Do you want to just explain what a CATEX actually is?
Well, it allows the department to waive the requirement. The department has come up with a process to do so, but so far that process has produced no new applications. Furthermore, because it's a departmental regulation rather than a law, investors can't count on that process as they make their investment decisions.
So a categorical exclusion basically waives the NEPA process in the first place. Mm-hmm. And Ms. Napolitano's testimony was that the department has already been using categorical exclusions, so they already have waived the process.
She may have missed all of the testimony that we received from actual hydropower developers that said that they can't count on that, and that it is still so convoluted that it increases the price behind a cost-effective rate.
So either way, though, both of you are arguing in one form or another to get rid of the process. You're just doing it in a legal form that makes it smoother in the overall run.
It means that investors can count on it, and that process cannot be convoluted by departmental regulations, okay, which have thwarted the development of these units.
Thank you.
Mrs. Slaughter.
Thank you very much. I've got to say that in this technological age of miracles and communication, this sound system, I think, is probably going to win some kind of national prize. What do you think? Really, I think I'd just as soon talk to you about that. That's okay? You hear me all right? Good. I just want to support Mr. Napolitano's amendment, and I have no questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cole. Mr. Polis.
Thank you. And I did vote for the similar bill in prior sessions, although it's for last session, that is. It's my understanding this now raises the threshold on the power plants that would be covered. I am hopeful, and I know that the sponsor of the bill is considering offering an amendment, which I think, in the interest of bipartisanship, it would definitely help attract more support on my side of the aisle to be able to include language that allows the Bureau of Reclamation to apply its categorical exclusion process to the same end, but effectively through an existing exclusion process that exists, which I believe would accomplish the same end. And I know that's something Mr. Tipton is considering offering, and which I would strongly support. And I would hope that in the interest of attracting a stronger bipartisan majority for the bill on the floor of the House, that's something we can include in the bill. And I want to ask both members if that's something that they would consider if offered by the sponsor.
Well, again, I can't speak for the sponsor.
Sure.
What I can tell you is our subcommittee received a lot of testimony from small hydropower developers that the department's current categorical exclusion process simply does not work.
And Mr. Napolitano?
Yes, Mr. Polis, I believe Mr. Tipton has offered an amendment. Same thing, page 4, lines 14 and 18. And it reads as follows. 3, the Bureau of Reclamation shall apply its categorical exclusion process under NEPA Act of 69, parentheses 42 U.S.C. 4321 at sequence, to small conduit hydropower development under this subsection, including siting of associated transmission facilities on federal lands.
And it is also shall apply, so it's not that there's an open-ended thing there. I mean,
Right.
it's a shall apply, and it might seem like a matter of semantics, but it does make a difference, and I think as long as that can be included, I fully anticipate that this bill will have certainly not universal support, but we'll get more support from my side of the aisle. We're sort of excited about the jobs not only in Colorado, we're excited about obviously the renewable energy component, hydropower being a critical part of a renewable energy portfolio. Happy to yield back.
Thank you very much. Mr. Woodall, are there any questions that remain on the Republican side? Seeing none, and no more on your side. Thank you very much. It's very interesting. While I've come from Texas, we're really not considered the West. And the West has indigenous issues that roam from north to south. Water, and natural resources which come from dams and water and the larger impact of the federal government. So both of you being here before the Rules Committee is good for me, and I think the committee to see the expertise that resides on both sides of the aisle, and it's my hope that we will do well tomorrow on the floor as you debate this, and I appreciate you bringing this important issue before us. Thank you very much. You're now both excused, and I want to close the hearing portion, seeing no further members that are seeking to be recognized. H.R. 678, the hearing portion is now closed, and we will move to see if we're ready for a motion. Gentleman, Mr. Bishop would be recognized for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move the committee grant H.R. 678, the Bureau of Reclamation and Small Conduit Hydropower Development and Rural Jobs Act, a modified open rule. The rule provides 1 hour of general debate equally divided, controlled by the chair and the ranking minority member of the Committee on Natural Resources. The rule waives all points of order against the consideration of the bill. The rule provides that the bill should be considered as read. The rule waives all points of order against provisions in the bill. The rule makes in order only those amendments that are submitted for printing in the congressional record dated at least 1 day before the day of consideration of the amendment and pro forma amendments for the purpose of debate. Each amendment submitted for printing may be offered only by the member who submitted it for printing or the member's designee and shall be considered as read if printed. Finally, the rule provides one motion to recommit with or without instructions.
You've now heard the motion by the gentleman, Mr. Bishop, and is there any discussion or amendment to that? Seeing none at this time, those in favor of the amendment by the gentleman signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing no dissent, the motion is agreed to. And the gentleman that will manage this amendment, Mr. Bishop, on behalf of the Republicans Rules Committee, and the gentlewoman, Mrs. Slaughter. We anticipate the next meeting will be at 3 o'clock tomorrow on H.R. 1120, the NLRB bill. And I want to thank all the members for coming back and for being here this evening. Welcome back home. We're now adjourned.